Welcome, happy Monday. Welcome to the live Monday music motivation. Today we have a little bit of a different style to this that I think is going to be fun. Today I have a really actionable challenge that I want you all to actually implement this week and actually challenge yourself to accomplish this week. So last week I talked about avoiding frustration and how sometimes when you're getting frustrated and sort of banging your head against the wall, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, that it can be really valuable to just take a break, whether it's a micro break or a macro break where you sleep on it. And you'll find when you come back to it that things are easier and not so frustrating. Today, I want to challenge you to implement that in a little bit different way. This is a way to, again, avoid frustration, but instead of taking a break, the way we're going to avoid frustration is by simplifying. So what does simplifying mean? The end goal of simplifying is to make it so that you can actually do the music and play in such a way that it feels easy, comfortable, confident, in control. And of course, it's correct. Being correct is important because we're trying to program the brain and teach the brain and encode the information that is how we actually want the music to go. So getting it correct is important. However, it can be frustrating when you're not getting it correct, when you're trying to go too fast, trying to do too much, and you're just not able to keep up with it. So what I want you to do is do some slow, isolated, simplified practice. I was really debating calling this just the sort of slow practice challenge or just telling you to go slower. But I do think it is important to talk about how slow practice isn't inherently effective practice. Oftentimes, effective practice is slow practice, but slow practice isn't naturally effective practice. It's sort of like that idea how a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle isn't a square. It's that kind of idea. So when slow practice actually becomes effective and why effective practice does go slow is more so because of the idea of simplification, I think. Simplifying captures the true nature of the benefits of effective practice, because what effective practice is, in my opinion, is getting the things that need to be got. So working on the challenging stuff, working on the stuff that you don't know how to play and doing it correctly. And as you're doing it correctly, feeling comfortable, confident, and in control. There's a lot of practice where we go through and maybe it sounds pretty good and maybe we get it and maybe it's even at tempo and it's there, but it doesn't feel comfortable and it doesn't feel in control, which leads to a big issue of inconsistency. I think inconsistency is one of the biggest frustrations when it comes to playing music, because you do it once well and then you do it another time not well, and it gets really frustrating. You're like, I did it good before, I should be able to do it all correct all the time, but it's just not the way that it works. So in control, feeling comfortable and confident with it, that's what leads to consistency. And when we can do it consistently correct, then we have it learned, we got it down, we're ready for performance. So the challenge for you this week is to actually simplify in your practice. And I want you to simplify to a much more extreme than you normally would. I find a lot of people will find a tricky phrase and be like, oh, this is a little hard at tempo, so I'm gonna go a bit under tempo and work on this phrase. And they do the whole 8 measures, like 10 beats per minute under tempo. And it feels basically the same as when they were doing it at tempo, even in the whole piece. I want you to take that simplification to the extreme. So instead of a whole phrase, maybe it's just one measure, maybe it's just one beat, maybe even just 2 notes. Really, really bring down that isolation, really target in and focus your energy on the smallest bit of whatever is tricky or whatever is challenging or whatever you're struggling with getting consistent. And then on the slow side, I want you to go to the extreme with that. I think practice at least half tempo, maybe even slower. Maybe it could be a little faster than that, depending on the tempo of the overall piece and sort of how much you're struggling with it. But I want you to go so slow that it feels boring. And I know it doesn't feel like fun to practice when it's boring, but I want you to shift the perspective a little bit. So you're going to go slow enough that playing the right notes with even rhythms is boring. That's what we need to be boring, because when that stuff is just absolutely dead easy, then you can start to expand your awareness to other things. How relaxed are your fingers? How good is the air support? Are you doing the dynamics and articulations that are written? Is it really truly even rhythm? Is it locking in with the metronome? Are you having nice rhythmic note groupings? Is the phrase leading somewhere? You can start expanding to all of these new ideas. And when we start tackling these new ideas and start being aware of these new ideas, that adds new encoding layers and new different ways of thinking about it, which gets us into our brain deeper, gets the music learned in better. So then we're more consistent when we're recalling it and can do it more consistently and get it correct more consistently, which is our end goal of practice, like I've been talking about, right? So that's the challenge for this week, is I want you to simplify to an extreme. And of course, you don't have to do this on like half notes and whole notes or even quarter notes where you're going super duper slow and just playing just your whole note. You could still get benefit out of that because you can really think about good sound quality and intonation and all that stuff, but you don't have to go that extreme on the easy stuff that you're already comfortable with. But find those parts in the music that are inconsistent or just completely uncomfortable. Simplify to an extreme by isolating more and going much, much slower than you think, to the point that playing the right notes and rhythms is boring. Then you can make it really, really smooth. And when it's really smooth and confident and comfortable and in control, then you can gradually speed up from there. So I hope you're up to the challenge, and I hope you actually tackle this week. And of course, fill out your practice template. So here is what my template looks like for the week. It's very simple. You can go to the link in the description, quickstartclarinet.com/get started, to check it out and download this template. Or you can make it for yourself. It's the date for the week, the reflection of how things are going, your goal for what you want to accomplish this week, and then most importantly, your plan for when you're actually going to be practicing and what you're going to actually be practicing. And I hope as you're putting this in, your goal for the week is to tackle this simplification challenge and simplify your practice so that you can get more out of it and feel more comfortable, confident, in control, and more consistent in your performance of whatever music that you're working on. So fill out your template. I hope that you have a fantastic week of practice. I hope that you're feeling up for this simplification practice challenge and actually put it into practice. Let me know in the comments if you do it and what kind of results you get from it. Have a great week of practice, and I will see you next week for the next Live Monday Music Motivation. Have a great week.